We've covered a lot in this podcast. There's one thing I wanted to go into before we head off of here. Your game. You guys are bringing a game to Cardano. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so we wanted to basically bring gaming to Cardano because we were looking at, how can we have the maximum impact for the Cardano community? And that's really what we're all about. And we looked at, what kind of projects succeed on Cardano and why they succeed on Cardano. And one thing, whether you're not like it or not, that has not done as well on Cardano as people may have wanted is DeFi, right? Obviously, we have a lot of successful dApps like MinSwap and Wing Riders, and they have respectable TVLs in the hundreds or just like around 100, and it definitely had its success in its own way, but it didn't necessarily have the growth of some of these other ecosystems that we may have wanted. And so we looked into, well, why is the case? Why is DeFi popular in Cardano, but did not see the same kind of growth we saw elsewhere? And after looking and talking to a lot of people, we noticed that a lot of DeFi ends up revolving around kind of large actors. If you look at the DeFi ecosystem on Solana, on Ethereum, the majority of the activity on these DeFi platforms and the liquidity on these DeFi platforms are not coming from retail users. They're coming from large institutional players that have double-digit, triple-digit millions of dollars that they're coming to play with. And Cardano, for a variety of reasons, does not really have those players involved. And Cardano, I would say, is even kind of like an anti-VC culture, and you can see that in a lot of tweets by the community where they are constantly talking about how they don't like Solana because of the VC interest. And so Cardano will definitely have a certain success in DeFi. I think the fact that MinSwap has the TVL it has shows that we're definitely not in a bad spot, and these projects will continue to succeed in their own right. But Cardano has definitely shifted towards retail heavy projects. So the fact that Cardano is one of the top NFT protocols in the world, is usually around second place behind Ethereum, is not by coincidence. It's because NFT usage is an extremely retail heavy application of blockchain, right? There's some institutional players that will come up and buy some NFT here and there as part of their portfolio, but primarily it's a retail environment. And the fact that Cardano, from a technical perspective, is extremely good for NFTs. I think it has a lot better technical capabilities for NFTs compared to Ethereum. So we had the right tech for it, combined with the fact that we had a retail heavy culture in Cardano, really made NFTs kind of like the place to be for Cardano. And so after talking to all these companies and looking at why things are succeeding, we decided that, okay, well, obviously as a company we've made some DeFi plays. For example, we launched this JED testnet, and we were involved in some of the development of JED and a variety of different projects. It makes more sense for us to think about how we can enable more retail heavy use cases, and that involves things like DAOs and involves things like gaming. And so we want to tackle this from our perspective, and we also want to enable other people in the community to tackle this in their own right. So we announced the hackathon for building DAO infrastructure for Cardano and Milkmida. We announced a gaming grant for any company who wants to build gaming, on Cardano. But as I mentioned, DC Spark is kind of like a end-to-end company. We want to, also be, focused on, building products, and we have that kind of culture. And so when we're thinking about, what can we do for games, we decide, what will DC Spark do? What will Milkmid do? What can be done by separate entities? And so we have this kind of gaming grant for people who want to come in and join. And then some of us who were original members of DC Spark have also gotten involved with, building a game ourselves. And it's going to be leveraging a lot of the R&D we've done for Milkmida. So I think it'll be a really attractive game. And notably, the game architecture will not rely on AWS or these kinds of centralized servers. And so it'll be like a purely on-chain game and not some game that purely uses the chain to represent NFTs. And so I think it'll be like a really interesting game from a technology perspective and bring a lot of adoption to Cardano, because I think it's a very retail-heavy project, which I think is the kind of project that does the best on Cardano based off our investigations.
Awesome. That's really exciting. I'm definitely going to play that. I'll do like, before I got my start making crypto videos, I used to live stream video games. So I'll have to go back to my roots there and check it out. What kind of game is it? What is a user going to be doing?
Yeah, so I don't want to reveal too much about it.
Yeah, of
But
course.
basically, if you want to learn more, you can look up Paima Studios on Twitter, and you'll find a Twitter account that's fairly new. Probably has like a single digit followers, so you might get your alpha, if you will, by following early. Um,
Yeah, you get your alpha from
and
staying till the end of the podcast, right?
Yeah, there you go. And it's gonna be more than one game. We're gonna have the first game coming up, but it's gonna be more of a platform than a single game, and we're hopefully going to be encouraging other people to build on the platform. And the way the platform works is that as I mentioned, it's gonna be an open platform. So there's no NFT you have to pay thousands to buy in order to play. You can just come in with a low amount of money and enjoy games, which I think is really the kind of target audience we're going for in the Cardano ecosystem.